Hello and welcome back to the Engerati studio here at European Utility Week. I'm joined now by Oswaldo Kaschny, who's the Electrical Utility Solutions VP at Schneider Electric. Oswaldo, firstly, welcome to the studio.
Thank
you for making time. While we were off air, I was talking a little bit to Oswaldo about what Schneider Electric is doing in this space, and one of the themes that came out is transformation. So I'd like to ask you the question: what is the transformation that you're seeing currently in the market?
Okay, we see now we are in a transition phase in terms of energy management. We have an old model that we are phasing out in the next few years to a new model where it's a complete decentralized system in terms of resources. We need to comply to the new requirements in terms of the environmental requirements for CO2 emission, green energy, and so on. We need to be more efficient in terms of the usage of the energy. And we position ourselves, Schneider Electric, as an energy management leader that can provide to our customers between 30 to 70% of energy savings.
So and these are utilities who are...
These are utilities and the final customer. It could be the commercial, industrial, and the residential customers also. And we see this transition as a new model that is being defined and is being matured by the different geographies in the world. Requirements from different geographies are different, and we are able today to adapt those requirements to our solutions, to have our solutions adapted to those requirements.
I mean, those numbers are quite large, but 30 to 70% energy savings.
Yes.
How are those manifested? I mean, what are people doing to realize those numbers?
Okay, the way we see, as you know, in the electrical energy, you have to match the consumption with the generation. And to do in the old model, we have a one-way energy from the top, from the big generation unit facilities to the consumer, and you could forecast what is going to be the next day load, and to match this. This is the, let's say, the rule, the main rule of the utility. And the way we see this evolution is that with the addition of the renewables, with the PV, with the wind, with the different biogas and so on, we are with different requirements from the grid, from the operators. We need to have we need to continue to provide to our customers, commercial, industrial, and residential, and a quality in terms of energy. And the addition of these renewables brings new challenges in terms of the system stability, with the voltage, with the VAR control, with the consumer being more efficient.
So is the challenge on the complexity of?
Is the challenge in the complexity, and also in the new model where you have the addition of energy in any domain of the network. An example that we can give to you is that the capability of a customer to insert energy, it brings a lot of issues in the stability of the network. That's when we talk about the match between the consumption and the generation. We are talking about that we have to have our resources. They are dimensioned to the peak load. And all the other times we don't have that, we don't use that energy. We are developing storage systems that can be storing the energy off peak, and we can use that in the on peak, in order that we can postpone investments in the new generation facilities.
So what we're talking about is a buffer, effectively.
Yes. Basically, we want to optimize the peak in terms of we can shave the peak, and we can improve this buffer, to use the buffer during the peak. With this, we can postpone large investments, capex investments in new power plants, in big investments. And this is let's say one of the challenges we have.
Isn't that one of the holy grails in electricity, though? Because it's actually quite hard to store it.
Yes.
Which is why hydropower or something like that
Yes.
is so good, because it can be turned on really quickly
Yes.
to
Exactly. Yes.
to generate for peak demand.
Exactly.
Because I don't want you to let out any state secrets, but how are you going about solving this storage thing? I would imagine it's not a great big whopping battery. It must be something more sophisticated than that.
It is a management system. It's a software. It's an IT software that you are able to dispatch your resources in an optimal way, in order that you can mix, you can combine the resources you have for generation, for hydro, for solar, for wind. Okay, and being able to reconfigure the network to optimize that operation. It is not only one technology, it's a mix of technologies that gives you, and that to be able to reach the optimal point, it's important to have a very complete IT system or distribution or energy management system that is able to see the full system.
So what we're talking about, which some of our other speakers have, it's really an agile system.
It's an agile system.
Where you're getting data inputs from all over the
Yes.
place. So when the wind turbine starts spinning, the system knows what to do with that type of electricity, and
That
maybe
is coming.
shut this off and
Yes, exactly.
and so
exactly.
on.
He optimized, the system is able to optimize this from this enterprise level that we call advanced distribution management system, that is able to see what are the restrictions in terms of the network and how to optimize the generation to match the consumption.
And have you got sort of use cases where utilities have already maybe built that network out, or is one of the challenges actually that is what they need to do first before we actually start talking about a smart grid?
The way there are different requirements from different geographies. We can give an example like Germany. Germany today has very large portion of the energy is renewables. There's a lot of issues in terms of voltage and VAR control. This is and to be able to use that energy, because you don't have control like you have a control for a hydro or a nuclear plant or a thermal plant. You can control that asset. In the renewable, you don't have the control. You don't know when the sun
or when the wind starts blowing,
or the wind starts blowing, or
yeah.
change directions. Yeah. And then, what this system is able to adapt, to be agile, as you mentioned, to be adapting the generation to the consumption. This is in addition to that, we need to be smart enough to manage the demand of the consumer, giving additional incentives to the consumers in order that they can also help to reduce the peak. Because when you reduce the peak, you are postponing the investments in the big generation.
Yes. Yeah.
And you are, at the same time that you are postponing, you need to be able to deal with the stability of the grid. Because when you are adding a lot of renewables, like in Germany, you have issues that sometimes you have to turn off those when you have a very sunny day, maybe in south of Germany, you have issues to transport of all the energy with the levels of voltage and power.
Yeah. Or you guys come in and help them store the energy, and then
this is what I said. It has to be a complete system where you include the renewables, the capability to create the buffer or the storage, the reconfiguration of the network, the capability of intelligence that can be centralized in the macro vision and distributed in the micro vision, in order that you are able to optimize. You want always to provide to the customer the most efficient energy, less minutes with the smaller quantity of the duration of the fault has to be reduced. This we have to have intelligent systems from the distribution level to the enterprise level, and that's where with Telvent I want to make this point.
Yes.
With the Telvent is we are able to complete the full solution from the enterprise, from the IT software, from the smart grid IT to the hardware at the consumer.
So all the way down the chain.
All the way down. We used to say we are able to go from the plug of the power plant to the plug of our house. and to optimize that.
That's absolutely amazing. And we're
Yes.
coming to the end of the time we've got here today. But
Yes.
I've been asking everybody who's come into the studio this question. You've obviously been at the event and seen
True.
some of the sessions. What for you is a personal highlight in terms of where you see the industry going? Because a lot of people have said that things have moved on a lot in a year. And what's been one of your highlights out of what you've heard or seen?
To me, is one of the highlights is the management of the demand and the management of the renewables. And to us, this kind of show, this kind of event, it's very important because we are able to get different customers from different geographies with different concerns. What is applicable to Europe, sometimes, even in Europe, there are different requirements from Germany or from Italy or from France. And if you go to developing countries, there are other requirements that are requested, the customer wants to do. What is important that we have the solutions that are developed, and these are field proven, and we are able to adapt to the different requirements of the customer.
Absolutely, and this whole layer of technology that allows
Exactly.
that whole adaptation. Oswaldo, thank you very much for making the time.
You are very welcome.
much enjoyed talking to you today. That's all we've got time for. More interviews on engerati.com, and we also have an interview by a colleague of Oswaldo, I think from the Telvent side of things, which I would encourage you to watch. So thank you for watching this interview.